What if I told you that one of the most talented footballers in history never became the king of football, not because he lacked skill, but because fate simply wouldn't let him? He had everything: the magic, the flair, the confidence. He made defenders look helpless, won the Champions League, dominated Brazil, and for a moment, the entire world believed he would become the next king after Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. But then, the injury started. The pressure grew. When Neymar burst onto the world stage, football fans weren't asking if he would become a superstar. They were asking how many Ballon d'Or trophies he would win. That tells you everything you need to know. Long before he arrived in Europe, Neymar had already become Brazil's biggest sensation since Ronaldinho. Stadiums were full just to watch him play. Every touch, every dribble, every goal felt like something from a video game. He wasn't just winning matches, he was entertaining the entire world. For Brazil, he wasn't simply another talented youngster. He was supposed to be the chosen one, the player who would finally bring the Seleção back to the top of world football after years of disappointment. When he joined Barcelona in 2013, everything seemed to be going exactly as planned. Playing alongside Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez, Neymar became part of one of the greatest attacking trios football has ever seen, the famous MSN. Together, they destroyed defenses across Europe, won the Champions League, dominated Spain, and produced football that many people still consider impossible to recreate. Yet, even during those incredible years, one question never disappeared. Could Neymar ever step out of Messi's shadow? Because no matter how brilliant he played, Barcelona still belonged to Messi. Neymar wanted something bigger. He wanted to become the face of football. He wanted to be number one. And that's exactly why he made one of the biggest decisions in football history. In 2017, he left Barcelona for Paris Saint-Germain in the most expensive transfer the sport had ever seen, over 220 million euros. The message was clear. Neymar wasn't running away, he was chasing greatness. For the first time, the team would belong to him. No more sharing the spotlight, no more living behind Messi's legacy. Everything pointed toward Neymar finally winning the Ballon d'Or and becoming the best player in the world. But football had other plans, because just when Neymar reached the peak of his career, the injuries began. At first, people thought they were just bad luck. A twisted ankle, a muscle problem, a knock here, a sprain there. Nothing unusual for an attacking player who dribbled as much as Neymar did. But season after season, the same story repeated itself. Every time PSG entered the most important stage of the Champions League, Neymar was injured. Every time Brazil prepared for a major tournament, questions about his fitness returned. Slowly, doubt replaced excitement. The player once considered football's future king was spending more and more time in the treatment room. Then came the World Cups, and this is where Neymar's story becomes truly heartbreaking. In 2014, Brazil hosted the tournament. Everything was ready. The country believed this would be Neymar's World Cup. He was carrying an entire nation on his shoulders, until one challenge changed everything. Against Colombia, Neymar suffered one of the most devastating injuries of his career. A fractured vertebrae ended his tournament instantly. Brazil lost its leader. Days later came the unforgettable 7-1 defeat against Germany. Many Brazilians still believe that if Neymar had been on the pitch, history could have been different. We'll never know, but one thing became clear: the dream had slipped away. Still, Neymar refused to give up. He came back stronger, he matured, he won Olympic gold for Brazil. He continued producing incredible numbers at club level. And once again, millions believed his moment would finally arrive. Little did they know, the hardest chapters of his career were still waiting for him. The World Cup slipped away, and every time Neymar got close to football's immortality, something happened to stop him. So what really happened? How did the player destined to rule football become the greatest what-if of his generation? And this is where Neymar's story takes the most painful turn. Because after everything he had already been through, football kept finding new ways to test him. By 2018, Neymar had become Brazil's undisputed leader. He wasn't just their biggest star anymore. He was their hope. Millions believed this would finally be the tournament where he silenced every critic and proved he could carry Brazil back to the top of the football world. On paper, Brazil had everything: a talented squad, an experienced coach, one of the most gifted players on the planet. But once again, something wasn't right. Neymar had just returned from a serious foot injury that kept him out for months before the tournament. Although he recovered in time to play, it was clear he wasn't at 100% physically. Even so, he still managed to score goals, create chances, and lead Brazil into the knockout stage. Then came Belgium. One match, 90 minutes. 4 years of preparation depending on a single performance. Brazil lost 2-1. And just like that, another World Cup dream disappeared. The criticism arrived immediately. Some people focused on his performances. Others mocked the fouls he received and the way he reacted after being tackled. The internet turned Neymar into a meme. People stopped talking about his football. They talked about his falls. And perhaps that was one of the saddest moments of his entire career. One of the most naturally gifted players of his generation was no longer being judged for his talent. He was being judged for everything else. Still, Neymar refused to quit. He continued scoring goals. He became Brazil's all-time leading scorer. He kept producing incredible numbers season after season. But there was always one enemy he could never escape: injuries. Every time he built momentum, another setback appeared. Every time he looked ready to dominate again, his body forced him to stop. And then came Qatar 2022. For many people, this was Neymar's best opportunity to win the World Cup. Brazil arrived as one of the tournament favorites. The squad was full of stars: Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Casemiro, Marquinhos, Alisson, Richarlison. Everything seemed perfectly prepared. Until history repeated itself. In Brazil's opening match, Neymar suffered another ankle injury. Once again, the country's biggest star was forced to watch part of the tournament from the sidelines. He fought his way back, returned for the knockout rounds, and inspired Brazil against South Korea. It looked like destiny was finally giving him another chance. Then came Croatia. One match, 190 minutes. Brazil took the lead in extra time. Neymar scored what many believed would become one of the most important goals of his career. The entire country could already see the semifinals. But football can be unbelievably cruel. With only minutes remaining, Croatia equalized. The match went to penalties. Brazil were eliminated. And the image of Neymar sitting alone on the pitch, crying uncontrollably, became one of the defining moments of the tournament. It wasn't just another defeat. It felt like watching a lifelong dream slip away. Since then, injuries have continued to interrupt his career. Questions about his future have become louder every year. Many fans now wonder whether Neymar will ever get another realistic chance to fight for football's biggest prize. But here's the thing. People often measure greatness only by trophies. If that's true, then yes, Neymar never became the king. He never won the Ballon d'Or. He never lifted the FIFA World Cup. But football isn't remembered only through medals. It's remembered through emotions, through unforgettable moments, through players who made millions fall in love with the game. And very few footballers have entertained the world the way Neymar did. His dribbles, his confidence, his creativity, his joy. He reminded people that football wasn't only about winning, it was about creating magic. Maybe history will always remember Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo as the kings of their generation, but Neymar will always be remembered as something different. The prince who had all the talent to wear the crown, but whose story was constantly interrupted by injuries, pressure, and heartbreaking moments. Perhaps that's what makes his career so unforgettable. Not because he conquered football, but because despite coming so close so many times, he never stopped believing. And maybe that's why years from now, people won't ask how many trophies Neymar won. They'll ask a much more painful question. What if injuries had never stood in his way?